Right, so we're continuing to work through Isaiah 59. And the first two verses were kind of the overture. People thought God was far from them, but God was unable to save them. And the two key points are God is well able to save us. He can rescue us from any situation. The basic problem is that our sin has separated us from God. So in the next section, verses 3 to 8, we're going to look at, we get this problem described. So let's read it. This bit is not jolly. For your hands are stained with blood, your fingers with guilt, your lips have spoken falsely, and your tongue mutters wicked things. No one calls for justice. No one pleads a case with integrity. They rely on empty arguments, they utter lies. They conceive trouble and give birth to evil. They hatch the eggs of vipers and spin a spider's web. Whoever eats their eggs will die, and when one is broken, an adder is hatched. Their cobwebs are useless for clothing. They cannot cover themselves with what they make. Their deeds are evil deeds, and acts of violence are in their hands. Their feet rush into sin. They're swift to shed innocent blood. They pursue evil schemes. Acts of violence mark their ways. The way of peace they do not know. There's no justice in their paths. They have turned them into crooked roads, and no one who walks along them will know peace. It's not very complimentary, is it? And it's focusing perhaps more on societal problems. There's no justice, no integrity. And if we look at the legal system, many times it seems that a case, all that matters is who wins the argument, who can twist the law to get what they want. Even worse, if you look at politics, where probably most of us have a low view of politicians and politics, and an awful lot of it's justified. That no one pleads a case with integrity, but they rely on empty arguments and they utter lies. Now we need to be careful here. Some of us we probably all think of some examples where that's true, but we also need to look at things we're in favour of, and maybe we would tend to overlook these things if it's supporting a case which we're in favour of, or a cause that we're in favour of. We need to be very wary of that. It says they conceive trouble and give birth to evil. They hatch the eggs of vipers. Their deeds are evil deeds, and acts of violence are in their hands. And their feet rush into sin, and they are swift to shed innocent blood. They pursue evil schemes. Acts of violence mark their ways. The way of peace they do not know. It's pretty grim. But we just need to reflect on this. God is describing the problem, or the state that we have got ourselves into. So we'll call a halt to this one here. I know it's not very cheerful. The good news is that there's better to come in this chapter. The gospel, the salvation that is in Jesus Christ, is dealing with an utterly dreadful, serious, deadly problem. But it deals with it perfectly and completely. So, there is good news to come. Thank goodness.